good, YouTube? It's your boy Nick. Now with the new NBA season approaching and new players in new cities, I decided that I wanted to rank all 30 NBA teams and what do I predict their season to turn out like. Now before we start today's video off, I will be doing this video into two parts. Today we're going to be talking about the West, and then tomorrow we're going to be talking about the East. Now, if you want to see the East video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that like button. Now, yesterday we had media day for the NBA season. You know, you seen the father and son duo. You seen your favorite team tell what they want to do this season, what their predictions being. Now, me, Nick Joe, he's going to be telling you the real, not what these NBA players think their season approaching. Now, with their records, I'm not going to guess that right because anything can happen in the NBA. But I'm going to be telling what seed they're going to be in. First, second, third. Now for team number one, they just made a trade recently, and that's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now they made a trade recently for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo. Now to me, I think this was a horrible trade with the Julius Randle for Cat. You get way too much inconsistency with Julius Randle. I mean, Julius Randle is literally a brick marshman when it comes to the playoffs. And then sometimes in the regular season, he gives some good games, but him and Rudy Gobert, I just don't see that fitting. Minnesota ended up being the third seed, if I'm not wrong, last year. I think they might end up being a 7 or 8 seed this year. I like the Dante DiVincenzo signing for shooting. Besides that, now on to the second team, the Memphis Grizzlies. Now the Memphis Grizzlies with Ja Morant back this season, I see them being a play-in team. I don't see them being a playoff contention just yet. They have too many pieces gone off their team. Obviously, you have to do of Ja Morant. Jaren Jackson Jr. actually had a good season last year, a great season last year. I mean, this year, I just don't see them being a good team at all. They don't really have nothing else besides Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. To me, Marcus Smart, yeah, is a good two-way player, but I just don't see them being a good team at all. They're fighting for a play-in spot this year. If you disagree with me in the comment section below, obviously debate me, but I just don't see that team being good. Now to the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns this year, I feel like they can be at least a 6 seed with the addition of Tyus Jones. They finally got them a point guard, which they have been missing the past 2 seasons. But with the Phoenix Suns, I feel like it's going to be an early playoff team just like last year. I don't see it at all how they have a better playoff than last year. I still see a first round exit team. Obviously, their depth is better with the point guard addition, but their bench is still honestly one of the worst benches in the league, and they still haven't fixed that. I see that team being a 5 or 6 seed just like last year. Now the Pelicans, I feel with the Pelicans, if we're not counting injuries, I feel like they can be a top 4 seed in the West this year. You get a healthy Zion, DeJounte Murray, with a healthy CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram. That's a top 4 team in the West. Obviously, with the Pelicans, they have had injury rattle seasons for the past 3 years. If they can get their injuries cleaned up, they can be a top 4 seed in the West. But I say not a finals contender, but at least a 3rd round playoff contention from this team. Have amazing talent. It's just injuries have derailed their seasons time and time again. But if with no injuries this season, everybody come out to hoop with no injuries, no setbacks, I feel like this could be a top 4 seed in the West. The Los Angeles Clippers, I see the Los Angeles Clippers being a play-in team also. I don't see them really competing for a good playoff spot with Paul George gone. Yes, you got James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, but obviously we know the injury history of Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi couldn't even play in Team USA this year. I really don't trust him at all. Over the past 4 years, he has showed us nothing that he can play a full season. Really don't trust Kawhi Leonard this season. Without Paul George, especially, Paul George had some good games for them last year, keeping the team afloat. James Harden is not the player that he was on the Rockets, and I just don't see that team being successful at all. Not for the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz last year was actually competing for a play-in spot last year. I feel like they can actually have a good, solid team, but I still think they're in a rebuilding stage. I feel like they might be in the same situation they was last year. Have good stretches of games in the play-in spot, fighting for a playoff position, but I just don't see that team being good. Just like last year, I feel like they might trade Lauri Markkanen this year and go full-on more rebuild. So I see that team being like a bottom 3 team, bottom 4 team this year. If they trade Lauri Markkanen and rebuild, the Jazz can be a playoff team in the near future. Now to my favorite team, the Houston Rockets. I feel like the Rockets could be a top 7 team, fighting for playoff, fighting for the play-in, or be in that playoff picture. Added a lot of depth this offseason, especially with the rookie addition of Reed Shepherd, and we're going to see more progress from Alperen Sengun. Jalen Green, I feel like Jalen Green is going to have a big year this year, year 4 for Jalen Green. If you guys don't know, Jalen Green had an amazing end of the stretch last year, and if he can continue that going into this year, that would be perfect for us. Jabari Smith Jr. I feel like the Rockets have a good young core, one of the best young cores in the league, the most young core in my opinion. That team will be special this year. I feel like if they get Tari Eason, a full healthy season Tari Eason with his defensive powerness, along with a man Thompson, they can be a havoc to wreck with team. I feel like their team has a lot of scoring and defensive potential, a good two-way team. Get Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green, especially with some bench depth like Cam Whitmore coming off the bench, giving you at least 16 points a game. I feel like, and Jalen Green at least averaging 20 plus this year. I think it's going to be an underrated team and going to surprise a lot of people in the league this year. I see them being a top 17, but they can peak at top 3 team. Now to the Golden State Warriors. Now the Golden State Warriors, I don't see them being good at all this year. Obviously you have Steph Curry, but with no Klay Thompson, even though Klay Thompson didn't do nothing for you last year, they didn't really add anything at all significant this offseason. I mean, you just have Curry there and Draymond Green. Draymond's not giving you any points. So you guys, Curry dropping 40 every game just for you guys to make the playoffs. I don't see you guys being successful at all this year. Honestly, I feel like y'all could be a bottom 3 team this year at best. Maybe even the worst team in the league. I feel like the thing the Warriors should do is just go into rebuild mode. Obviously, I know you guys won't trade Steph Curry, but it's best just to go into rebuild mode for this franchise. It's nothing y'all could do to make this team better. Just honestly go into rebuild mode. I mean, it's pretty good for Warriors fans. Y'all had y'all a good 4 years, 4 years celebration. Y'all had a super team. Now it's time to rebuild and go into mediocrity, just like how other teams had to deal with when y'all were the reigning champions. Now on to the Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers, I feel like they're going to be a bottom 2 team again this year. I didn't see anything significant from this team. Scoot Henderson was abysmal last year. One of the most worst rookies I've ever seen in my lifetime, man. I mean, you can't make up the shit that he was doing, bro. Every time he got on the court, I was just laughing at the dumb shit he would do, bro. Honestly, just hope for a good year for Scoot Henderson, man. Maybe he can show some powerness on the basketball court, be better than what he was last year. Honestly, he was just a disgrace last year. Maybe very disappointed. I do like Anthony Simons and Sheldon Johnson. I like those 2 players, man. Showed a lot of potential last season. So if we could just get Scoot Henderson to come on with it, maybe they can be a good team this year, better than they was last year. But Scoot, you got to come on with it, man. On to the Sacramento Kings with DeMar DeRozan this year. I feel like the Kings could be at least a surprising top 6 team this year. I think they could be the 6th seed this year with the addition of DeMar DeRozan. I don't see any big playoff push from this team at all, though. I mean, I feel like they can be a first round, second round exit this year. I feel like DeMar is going to help them in the regular season, but when it comes to playoff time, we all know DeMar DeRozan is scared of the playoffs. Not a big time moments player. Haven't seen anything significant from DeMar in any playoff series. So I feel like he won't help you in the playoffs, but regular season, y'all will be a better team. Come playoff time, don't expect anything from the Sacramento Kings this year. Now on to the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas Mavericks were the team to make it out of the West and go to the NBA Finals last year. With the new addition of Klay Thompson, you don't know what you're going to get with Klay Thompson. You can either get brick Klay Thompson, or maybe you get Klay Thompson 40% from the 3-point line. You get Klay Thompson that shoots for 1 or 1 for 10, whatever. You never know what you're going to get for Klay Thompson. He could be the new Celtic Shaq this year on the Mavericks. Klay Thompson had an abysmal year last year. Maybe with a new scenery, a new fan base, maybe he might play better this year. For the Dallas Mavericks, if Klay Thompson is good for you this year, back to the NBA Finals if he plays good. If not, the Mavericks being a good 2nd round, 3rd round exit. All depends on how Klay Thompson plays and how he performs. For the Denver Nuggets, now the Denver Nuggets this year, they added Russell Westbrook to the team. I feel like the Denver Nuggets can be another top 2 team this year. Russ coming off the bench. If Russ can play that Bruce Brown role that they needed last year, it can go back to the Western Conference Finals. If not, make the NBA Finals this year. That Boston versus Nuggets Finals he thought was going to have last year. For the Nuggets, I feel that they would be a top 2 team. I really want to see what they do in the playoffs this year. See, last year they could have went to the Western Conference Finals and won the finals, but the Timberwolves, a great Game 7. Teams were evenly matched in my opinion. A good roster construction from the Timberwolves. I don't know how y'all deal with the Nuggets, but last year was perfect for them for beating the Nuggets. But this year, I feel like the Nuggets are still a top 2 team this year, especially with the addition of Russell Westbrook. I feel like they can be able to go back to the NBA Finals. Jokic is the best player in the league, so you can never doubt him. I feel like they can either be peak Western Conference Finals, super peak, go to the NBA Finals this year. I have them as a top 2 team this year. To the OKC Thunder, I have the OKC Thunder being a top 3. Maybe if not the 1st seed this year. With the addition of Alex Caruso, the team was extraordinary last year. And you get Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein, 2 big key features they needed this offseason. One with center depth, and you get a good 2-way player with Alex Caruso, which they also needed. I feel like the Thunder are going to be another top 3 seed this year and blow expectations away that they did from last season. Thunder, top 3 seed. For the Los Angeles Lakers, I feel like the Lakers is going to be a circus show. I feel like the Lakers is going to be a media show all this year. I feel like, with Bronny being there and, LeBron being in year 22, I don't think the Lakers care about making the NBA Finals. I feel like they're just here for comedy and playing basketball. That's all the Lakers is for this season. I don't have no high hopes for the Lakers this year. Maybe they're going to do the same thing they did last year. Yeah, I feel like the Lakers, they'll be a 7 or 8 seed just like the past 4 years. 7, 8 seed or might not make the playoffs, be a play-in tournament team. I just feel like they're just there for, the views, the clicks this year. They don't really care. It's on AutoZone for the Lakers this year. The Lakers space is going to be fucking hilarious this year. Also, shout out LeBron to, playing with your son. That's cool this year. I'm not hating on that at all. That's, LeBron's the GOAT. I don't care what nobody say, LeBron the GOAT. But the Lakers, I don't see them doing nothing this year. I kind of been done with the expectation of LeBron getting the 5th ring. I feel like that's over with. LeBron just here, make money and play with his son, man. That's all I see from the Lakers this year. I know Lakers fans going to kill me in the comment section below, but hey, I don't see y'all doing nothing important this year. Now for the final team of the Western Conference, the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs with CP3 this year, I feel like they can make a play-in push this year, especially with CP3 and Wemby, man. That pick and roll is going to be absolutely deadly, man. Wemby finally gets a point guard, just an NBA player in general, to pass him the ball and make him a way better player, but an extraordinary point guard who is in year 20, I think. I think Chris Paul in year 20. You get a high IQ player to play with alongside Wemby. I feel like it's extraordinary for his development. I see them being a play-in team this year, just missing the playoffs, but I feel like they could be a play-in team or in the play-in race this year. Now, with that being said, that's all my predictions for the West of the 2024 to 2025 NBA season. In the comment section below, debate me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me in the comment section below what you agree and disagree with. Also, click that like button below if you did enjoy today's video. Also, subscribe so you know exactly when the next video comes out for the Eastern Conference. But with that being said, I'm gonna end off today's video. Peace.